Okay, so for cancer incidence, so we've already presented or made a abstract for this topic, and we got accepted for AACR. But after reviewing many some similar or reference articles, I realized it would be better if I can gather individual level of data. I mean, I know it would be very hard and difficult, but I just want to get your opinion on kind of confounding factors. So if it's okay with you, let me just show you some articles and then ask your opinion on that, how to kind of dealing with that issue.
So what are you trying to show?
Oh, sorry. So it's not being shared. Okay. So I'm trying to share the articles
So you
themselves.
have to unshare and then share the
Oh.
your new window.
Okay. Sure. So basically, we only have the final results from all the articles, the material articles.
Mhm.
And so actually someone asked me about the confounding factors. For example, for lung cancer, did you consider smoking as the confounding factor for your analysis? And then that really made me think about all the analysis that I did, and I realized among 5 articles included in the meta, 4 of them individually, 4 of them considered smoking status. They try to adjust it in their own way, whether it is incorporating the factor into models or stratification. But unless I have individual data, I cannot actively adjust each confounding factors, and there's nothing more I can do about the data itself. And I'm wondering, because although the numbers are small, previous articles continue to kind of point out that it's very important to consider confounding factors in terms of this kind of cancer incidence or cancer risk topic. So I think, yeah, here. So this is actually the model reference article that I'm referencing right now. So it's
all black.
meta-analysis.
It's all black.
It's all black. Still, sorry for. I'll share again. I hope it is shared. So, okay, here. So if you see the meta-analysis done for non-Hodgkin lymphoma, can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. So this is the article that I am referring to right now for the cancer incidence meta. And here they adjusted confounding factors for socioeconomic status and alcohol, smoking, BMI. And then they calculated the total risk increased by transfusion maybe. And also, not only for non-Hodgkin lymphoma, many of the articles, I mean, most of the articles that I am including in the meta, they kind of adjusted their result for some confounding factors. For example, here they say standardized incidence ratio for liver cancer and non-Hodgkin lymphoma in strata of recipients by time interval and other factors like gender or type of blood. So I'm wondering, so as of now, our data is just very rough. I cannot control any different confounding factors for each different type of cancer. And so do you think it's still worthy to be discussed or reported? Unless I get individual level of data, it will be very hard to control the confounding factors here, as also like the study itself, this individual study adjusted for potential confounding factors, but it didn't reply, like it didn't supply any individual data so that I can look into it. And my guess is because we know like all different type of cancer has different type of confounding factors, for example. So I'm wondering what would be the best way that I can approach this issue, like dealing with confounding factors.
How many cohorts did they look into?
You mean in the meta-analysis for NHL, or
Uh-huh.
they look into very many like cohorts. So here, so actually like I found out that there are the database we can use for non-Hodgkin lymphoma. So they looked at like this amount of study data from Mayo Clinic or like other countries, UK, EpiLymph. I think this is the database in Europe.
Do you know if some of them are public?
Are public? I think NCI-SEER. Honestly, like not sure whether they're public or not. I can update you later, maybe.
So my short answer is, if you can get access to the individual data, I think that's ideal.
Right.
I did not know how accessible those data can be, but they did this in SEER. Is there a reason we did not use SEER?
Actually, like I've not looked into any database itself. I just looked at the publications level of data, so I'll definitely look into SEER. Yeah, I mean, we started from this paper and then the Scandinavian paper, and then we kind of expanded our papers by digging like PubMed or search space. So yeah, I've not known there.
For some of the lab members who's not familiar with your project, can you tell them your hypothesis?
Oh, sure, yeah. So the hypothesis of this study, this meta-analysis, is we want to see whether the cancer risk increased or not after receiving blood transfusion in general population. So, and based on like evidence by date, I'm pretty sure at least some cancer risk will be increased after getting blood transfusion, but I'm also sure that it really depends on the cancer type, and then also from the duration of time elapsed from blood transfusion. So yeah.
So has there been any paper looking at all cancer risk in SEER? I know this is non-Hodgkin.
I may be wrong, but
is this the first and only paper that you saw SEER data?
this is the first paper among the 5 other papers that I included for the meta, I've not seen like SEER database.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I guess this non-Hodgkin lymphoma paper is the latest one, as it is published in a couple of years ago, like 2019. Yeah, but they only looked at non-Hodgkin lymphoma other than other type of cancers.
Hmm. I think because of their cohort, how that is set up to look at other things, they looked at transfusion. So number one, I think it's great idea to get individual level data if you can. You don't know what you can get unless you ask. Number two, look into SEER data. It's publicly available data. You can request and get that data just like we did for transplant database. So there's a
Mhm.
format. You have to request it. If you get it, study the structure of the data and see
Mhm.
if you can use that as an individual database. And that's not meta-analysis, but here it's not like they pulled SEER as one of their, it's not like they pulled different publication. Here it looked like they did pooled analysis with different cohorts.
Right, correct.
What I mean is all the small cohorts are not one publication.
Yeah,
They
sure.
just pooled different cohorts.
Right, available data.
Right? So these are not
Right.
publications. These are the data, the raw data they collected, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. That's why there are so many like authors from different countries and different like academic centers. So from NCI and like.
So if you have access to SEER data, then I would first do just the SEER and see what you find in the SEER database. And then you could pull SEER database with other published data in your manuscript. I feel like just if you get the SEER data, you could do a separate abstract, even a separate paper just for SEER, because it's a really big data. And
Yeah.
I've worked with SEER data during my master's time at Hopkins.
Oh, really? Okay.
So it's a valuable data, but a lot of it is cross-sectional. So be aware. It has to show time association.
Okay. Look into whether I can do something just to fix that or to prove that. Or that could be the limitation of that database, but yeah.
But
Actually,
they use it here, so there's gotta be a reason it can be used.
right. I'll look into it. Yeah, about whether they mentioned something about SEER data here or. Okay.
There's a data called NHANES. It's NHANEAS. It's NHANES database. And then there's a NHS, the Nurses Health Study from New England area. Look into those database. Some of them will have their database available publicly if you ask.
Yeah.
There's
Regarding.
there's a Framingham study, also near Boston, cardiology study, but they collect cancer outcome. Look into that one. There's a Maryland. There's a county near Baltimore. There's a Maryland. I forgot that cohort's name. There's a lot of. So look into epidemiology, public database, there may be a website that explains what are public, what are not public.
Mhm.
What are the valuable data that you can tap into.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can share all of you my experience when I was a resident. I tapped into SEER and NHANES database. It's all free for you. So if you get sick and tired of just patient chart review and Excel file, you can look at national level data, and it's all free. And my question is, we now know osteomyelitis, osteosarcoma, they are linked. We now know gastritis, gastric cancer, they are linked. Inflammation and cancer is linked. If so, and we know asthma and lung cancer can be linked by inflammation. It's NF-kappa beta pathway. Anyway, my next question is, well, it's allergy, asthma. Then what about allergic conjunctivitis? What about nasal allergic rhinitis? If you have that, it's also your body has more allergy, more inflammation. So more inflammatory mediators in your body. Would that be associated with increased risk of having cancer in your body? That was my question and hypothesis. So I used these publicly available database. This was with when I was intern and resident. So I explored the data. I did the analysis by myself and showed nice correlation between if you have allergic rhinitis, your chance of having cancer in your lifetime increases. And it's the national level data. And you can look at my publication, it's already published. I presented this at National Resident Research Meeting or something. But anyway, I want to give you an example that how these type of big cohort analysis is really important in answering good questions at national or international level. Because we're a lot of times stick with my own hospital, just patient individual chart and case report. That's also important, but this bigger question can be answered using publicly available data, and you never know unless you tap into it. Like the transplant data, it's huge data. I never knew they would just hand it over to us that easy. And we're doing so many different projects out of it. I want to tell you how valuable these data is. These data are created based on so much grant and money, and a lot of it is public money. Some are tax dollars, okay? And it is there for us to learn and explore our hypothesis. Medicare, they have data. Medicaid, they have data, but they are not public, okay? So if I want to use their data, they make me pay thousands of dollars to download. So I was actually exploring that question, transfusion and cancer with Medicaid data. It was so expensive, I gave up. Okay, so pharmaceutical companies pay money to companies like Guardant or Tempus so that they can ask questions using their database. So they're a data company, they sell data. Uber sell data, Lyft sell data. At what time people go to which destination. They sell those data to companies, okay? So data is power, data is money. But what I'm saying is, if you work with data created with public fund, it's free. It's free, and we can still learn a lot from them. Okay, so good question, Eugene. Explore that and let me know what you find next week. Okay. Okay, next.
Dr. Che, we have the meeting right
Oh, it's
now.
9 o'clock. Okay, we're gonna take a break. So, how's that gonna work? Maybe it's gonna be a 30-minute break. So we'll get back onto the meeting. And is it a Zoom meeting or is it a different link?
It's a Microsoft Teams.
Oh, okay.
It should be in your calendar.
I think Haesung, you opened the links, right? So we'll just pause. I can get out, but I'll come back. Okay, maybe it will be 30 minutes. But you can just leave the same Zoom open so that we don't have to come back and yeah. All right, guys, I have an important meeting, so I'll be back in maybe 30 minutes. Okay.
Sure. I only have a few updates, so I'll quickly finish my presentation. So here. So Dr. Shi, I think we discussed until this. And for MRD, I'm working on the manuscript and I'll contact Natera today because I noticed some questions there are, for example, like the total number of patients are different between like swimmer plot and then survival plot. So I'll ask which patients are omitted for which reasons. And yeah, and then for
But where are we other than the graph? Are you ready to
other than
submit?
other than the graph, so I was planning to revise the overall numbers for abstract and some descriptive analysis, but before to do that, I have to set the cohort, right? The total patients included in the analysis. And I was wondering, should I include only 32 or should I include 37 in total? As long as I know our cohort number is 37, but I'm not sure why there are only 32 patients here. So yeah, that's the main thing I have to figure out as of now.
So this 32 was this, didn't you tell them to draw this?
I sent them 37 patient data, but then they drew this plot using only 32 patients. But
Mm.
but also here in PFS analysis, I noticed they included all 37 patients. So
So this graph was made by them?
yeah, this was originally made by me like this, but then they updated it like this.
Okay. Yeah, the reviewer will have the same question, so we have to
Yeah, I'll
explain
check on that.
if
Yeah,
the
sure.
rest
Yeah,
of them were not shown because of this and that. You have to explicitly say in the method.
sure. Agreed. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
where
And
are you submitting the paper
the
to?
target is I think I write it in the, so you see PO first.
Okay.
Dr. Chi, I'm so sorry, but I have to go to see the patient. So I have only one question regarding the project that I'm doing with Horyun, and he was asking, we are still working on the manuscript, it's pretty done, and his only question is which target journal are you thinking for this paper? So yeah, here.
So this is done?
Yeah, pretty much done. And but he said he will add a few figure by next week. And I'm still working on trimming the discussion part. Discussion, we wrote a lot. He mainly wrote a lot, and I think I have to make the paragraphs much shorter and having the main idea first. I'm still doing that. And yeah, but other than that, like all the comments you previously gave us to, like showing the p-value and putting descriptive analysis, that's done. So until like results parts, pretty much done and finish it. But I'm mainly working on the discussion. and he will update a few figures by next week, I think. So figures and tables are here and below, and I added the legend as well.
I think American Journal of Pathology may be good.
Okay, I'll update him.
And also the AACR journal, Cancer Immunology. What is that? Remember you looked at
Yeah, we will.
show
I'll look into it later.
American Journal of Pathology, AJP, and AACR has immunology journal, like it's called Cancer Research. I don't know, Cancer Immunology Research, or I don't know the exact name. It's a immunology, Cancer
I'll look
Immunology
into it.
journal for AACR, and I think you looked that up with Dr. Cho.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I got it, yeah. So these are, that's it for me. And I'll give you the update by next week regarding its project.
Okay. So yeah, make sure you keep moving real time. Because
Sure.
you know, I'll be gone for the AACR, and so yeah, make sure it moves real time.
Right. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
thank you, thank you.
Arnie, do you want to go next? 'Cause I know you're in a different timeline. Okay, Richard. Arnie's fine.
Yeah.
Do you have update?
Yeah, a few. I made a poster for the Nivo Epi trial for AACR that I wanted to run by you first.
Uh-huh.
Here, let me share that real quick.
Dr. Che, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Wait, do you want to go, Arnie?
I mean, before, can you repeat what did you ask me? Because I think I just like describe about HPD. Is there other thing? Can you repeat the questions?
Oh, I was just asking if you wanted to present now or not.
Oh
have to-
no, I already updated about the HPD. I think like for the project, it being right now it's just being reviewed, and for the next manuscript will be like done maybe like next weekend.
Okay, okay, that's fine.
Thank you, Dr. Shi.
No problem.
Sounds good. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like the overall poster. I can zoom in to help you read stuff, but so I took a lot of it from the manuscript, but I wrote the background and methods here. I don't know if you want to take a quick read over.
Yeah, looks okay. Method looks okay.
Okay. One question I had for results. So for 4 patients who had sequencing done, I had a table with their like genomic alterations. Do you think it would be helpful to include it, or is it not really helpful, do you think, to have it?
I think it's fine.
Okay. Okay, I'll format that. And then I have results here. So I have the
But what about
PFS.
the demographics? You said, you know, who are they? You know, what's
Yeah.
their age, sex?
Yeah, so Stats still working on the demographics table. They said that they would have it done this week. So I was hoping that they would get back to me in time to like print the poster. I'll probably email them again today and try to push them again a bit.
Yeah, but even if they don't get it to you on time, you should do your own stats. I mean, it's just basic demographics of the cohort. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And then PFS OS for, I split it up into the two cohorts for ACC and for non-ACC.
Mm-hmm.
And then here I made a chart with the best outcomes. So complete response, positive, stable, divided it into non-ACC and ACC. And then I had another chart. So this I wanted to ask you about. So I did a bit of chart reviewing. I found like the CBC for each patient prior to treatment. And then I found like correlations between like different treatment numbers and improved PFS and OS. So for example, like patients who had below median platelet counts had better progression-free survival and overall survival. Do you think it would be useful to include this way?
Below median neutrophil count.
Yeah.
So what's missing is hazard ratio here.
Hazard ratio, right? Yeah, because like I got this from a survival curve. For each of these, I have a survival curve. For example, like below versus above the median platelet count, and then looking at PFS and OS. That's how I got this. A hazard
What
ratio.
are you comparing to? Let's say below versus above.
Yeah. And I'm looking at progression-free survival in the two groups, below and above.
And is this P from the Kaplan-Meier curve?
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess you have this P is only meaningful if you show that graph, you know, how
Yeah.
it looks above and beyond, and which is upper and lower, you know, what's better. Just looking at this, I have no idea which direction
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how the curve will look like.
Mhm.
The p-value alone doesn't, you know, I don't think this table is enough to give us any meaningful information.
Mhm.
And I don't think you have space to show all the graphs, so it has to be hazard ratio. So it's the Cox regression hazard ratio that you have to show, and
Mm.
you have to show what versus what. Usually, A versus B means B is your reference point. So
Okay.
compared to the reference, what is your hazard ratio for PFS and OS? And you and then in the parentheses, you can show p-value next to it. So that's what I would do. Like, what are you comparing? Less than 5 versus more, equal or more than 5? And what is hazard ratio? And that way you could tell direction of association too.
Okay. That makes sense.
So I don't know if you have bandwidth to calculate Cox regression hazard ratio. You need if you have the raw data for the endpoint,
Mhm.
you can do that. And, you know, I think Haesung or Jian or Liam, I think everyone in our lab, or Eugene O, they can do the analysis if you provide them the raw numbers. So yeah, work with them to get the hazard ratio.
Okay, I'll ask about that. I'm a bit busy because I'm taking step next week, but
Oh, okay.
I will work on that with them. And then I have safety information here. Ooh, whoops, sorry. I have their stats is still working on the overall adverse events, so I only have immune related for now, but I picked the top 5 to show here. I'll add a bit more once they get back with more information. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah, but I guess immune related, it's hard to know if anemia or nausea is really immune related or not. I know that was how the graph was. So I think you could list the table to be, you know, top 5 or the common representative common side effects or toxicity, or yeah, it's a different I guess it's, it has to be systematic. Where fatigue, nausea is symptom, and then your laboratory abnormality is, then comes next. It's right now it's all just mixed up here. So look at other posters, other abstracts, how they presented their toxicity, and follow that format.
Okay, like typically like overall, not just immune related, but like all.
Yeah, overall is fine.
Yeah, okay. I'll wait for stats to get back with that. Hopefully soon. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the poster. Conclusion here.
So wait. So ACC, 2 out of 32. So wait, go to the title.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is 6%, not 16.
ACC of all anatomic sites of origin and other malignant. So here, your conclusion has moderate control, but ACC was 2 out of 32. I think you should still say in other, non-ACC, there, I guess you did not see any response, right?
And then non-ACC, no response. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you still have to say it out, write that.
Okay.
Right now, it just says moderate disease control.
Okay. Yeah. I'll include another bullet point for non-ACC.
Okay.
Okay. And then I also there's another poster too for the like early cancer, early detection. But we have 2 of them for that study. So I think Liam will show it tomorrow to you, both of them together.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
I think
fine.
it makes more sense that way. And then I've also been helping Dean with the manuscripts. I'm sure he'll want to show you next, but I'm working on that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, good job. I know you're busy, but yeah, it's research, it's gonna be like that. Same thing. You get into residency,
Yeah.
it'll be busier, and believe me, if you're a faculty, you're responsible for all your patients, so you're busy. So, you just have to have persistence and really be motivated to do this thing, right? But I think you're in that learning phase, so keep on doing what you're doing. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, very good. Who needs to go next? Wait, Dean, are you able to give me any update? Yeah.
Hi, Dr. J. Yeah, so yeah, as Richard mentioned, he's been helping me kind of finalize the manuscripts.
Yeah.
So for the Nevo Valley, I think that's pretty much ready to go. From all the comments from the past lab meetings, we updated the discussion section with some new trials. We built out all the tables and have like all the updated stats. I guess the only remaining thing is we were actually reached out to Dr. Eugen, so we're just filling in that last column on the table about mutation, if it's functional or not, but we have all the info collected from all the individual like patient reports. I guess, so I emailed the editor-in-chief of CCR, who said that with the abstract, and his feedback was that it didn't seem novel enough. Like it would definitely be considered, but just the fact that there was no like notable response, I think, was our secondary endpoint, and that was not met. So he was kind of questioning that it is a small trial, but also it's not meeting, like, yes, it met the primary endpoint of the maximum tolerated dose, but just like the, yeah, no, I guess novel aspects of it, he was kind of questioning. So I guess our next one we were planning to submit to was JITC, which we have like everything ready for a cover letter. You also recommended emailing MCT, but they never responded. And I think, you know, just reviewing their guidelines, it seemed a little bit out of scope for them because it's very early phase clinical trials.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think this one should be ready to go. I know we reviewed it in previous meetings, so I don't know if you want to read it again now, but I think Richard and I worked on it over the weekend. So I can
So-
ask, I guess, Dr. Liam for the login info for JITC.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it's not a major, like the flow and everything is okay and it's a minor revision, and you guys don't have any specific question for me, it's okay to submit it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll ask Dr. Liam for the and I know, I guess Arnie mentioned earlier the fact that we might have to list specific reviewers that we want for a JITC submission. Would you have recommendation for those?
So this is what cancer?
This is,
Pan cancer, or is it?
yeah, pan cancer, including breast, ovarian, pancreatic.
And this is nivolumab.
Yes.
Okay. Nivolumab. So PARP inhibitor is used in pancreatic cancer. So put Dr. Ungi Park. If Liam probably has email address, Ungi Park at Memorial Sloan Kettering. Nivolumab. Yeah, still put Daniel Shin. At UCLA. So
Okay. Yeah, I'll follow up with you, Dr. Liam, right after and ask for that info. Yeah, I guess otherwise the only minor update, I guess, from the case report, differentiation syndrome. So we got a couple of minor revision points from JTOCRR, so I worked on those. I guess the only thing that I'm not sure of, and I can try to make time to log in later. They asked for more stuff in the discussion, things like that, but they wanted to ask if we conducted NGS tissue testing on top of or in parallel to the blood testing. Is that something that you happen to know, or I can just check the chart later?
yeah, ask Liam.
Okay.
He has access to Epic, so he can see if in-house NGS or Tempus Foundation was ever done. And then Liam, you can log into Tempus to find that patient to see if
Yeah.
it was ever done and not uploaded, and there you go. You have that information and
Okay.
update it accordingly. Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise the it was pretty minor revisions, and the feedback seemed like it, you know, they'll definitely accept once that's updated. So that should be relatively soon. And then for the Nevo Met manuscript, I was also still working with Richard on that. There are a couple comments from last time that I have not been able to address yet. So I apologize for not having that ready, but I will update it for next week if that's all right.
Yeah, update me. Next week. Yeah, I think I'm here next week.
Yeah, but you know, again, largely like the formatting and I think the discussion points are relatively similar to Nevo Valley. So, you know, kind of the content building is the same. It's just probably some of the discussion points. I know you wanted to kind of highlight there was one patient who had a relatively longer
Right.
survival. So I was able to review the chart, I think, sometime previously, and you know, have some notes on that I can do like more literature review around to identify. But
Yeah, yeah. Good, work, work on that, and I don't know if Pedro was involved or Elena, whatever
Yeah,
you
that one was,
like, make sure
yeah.
they're still involved. They're still listed as authors, so
yes,
make sure that you get their input as well as you
yeah,
finish the first draft.
for sure. Thank you, Dr. Shin.
All right, that's it.
Yeah, that's all I have right now, but again, hoping to, for the case report and then the Nevo Valley, that should be pretty much submitted or resubmitted this week, and then Nevo Med, I can, yeah, have more ready for next week. But as you said, I'll keep, because I know Dr. Pedro has been more in touch, so I'll definitely send him a copy later this week.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Thank you. Maria, do you have any update on what you've been doing?
Yes, hi everyone. And let me share the screen. Okay, so this is the data that we have been working on. First, we start with 142 patients that receive immunotherapy. That is the data that we receive first. So we add 72 more. And then we have a total of 214. From those patients, we took off the ones that had insufficient clinical data. That was about 15 patients, and then at the end we kept 201 patients. From that pool, we take out the patient with a small cells lung carcinoma, mesothelioma, and neuroendocrine carcinoma. And at the end, we had 196. We also get out from the pool of our patient, the ones that had non-enhancing CT, because otherwise will be difficult to do the segmentation. So we have to take out like 24 patients. At the end, we stayed with 172 patients with non-cell lung cancer. And we are planning to add 38. Oh, I'm about to finish that. The total number that we are expecting to have is 210. Right now we are.
Go up, go up.
Yes.
So find out from previous data set,
Mhm.
and you have patient added 72 and all that. So to make it unbiased, we have to use the word consecutive patients. We cannot pick patients, okay?
No.
So it's whoever came to Northwestern in the time period of starting from this time period to this, and we selected everyone who got immunotherapy.
Mhm.
And, you know, patients who you added first and the second. I know this is for you to show me how the workflow happened.
Yes.
But in the end, you need to put them in the first box.
Clarify that information that we didn't
Yeah.
pick our patients.
Yeah,
Okay.
whoever, you know, this is the total patients, 142 plus 72 plus 35, or whatever, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yes.
and put that
mhm.
timeline, you know, what time frame.
The
And
time.
is it, I forgot, did you look at first line only or first, second, third line altogether?
First immunotherapy.
Okay.
Only first, yes. And we look up for this information, the clinical factors, the date that they start immunotherapy, the exact day when they discontinue immunotherapy, smoking history, the ECOG history, histology, the PD-L1, and all this data, gene mutation, and the radiographic factors that we took into account was also when they started immunotherapy and the baseline CT, that is 1 day before that the patient started immunotherapy. Then the first follow-up CT, that is in between 3 months, then the second CT type, and then the third one that is after the 6 months. That's what we collect. So far, sorry, I want to go to the RadioMix in here. So far we have almost everything collect. We are only looking forward to fulfill the 210 and then complete the information, but most of them are already, we have already almost all the information that we need. And the updates that we have so far, today I will finish the patient data. So I will give to Liam or Gion the information so they can ask for the DCOM file and then send to the imaging trial to get the receipts. Yesterday, Giona and also Liang had a meeting with the radiologic team. So maybe they can give you the updates regarding that, because I'm not sure what they're talking about, but mostly it was about how to get the DCOM file and stuff. Recently, Dr. Nam joined to the RadioMix study. At the end, we are Gion, me, Arnie, Dr. Nam, Jisan, and Mari, that is undergraduate that is joining this Thursday, that what is gonna help us starting that day. And right now we are learning, because after getting the DCOM file, we are going to start doing this, the segmentation. And that Gion, me, and Dr. Nam and Mari will conduct that. So those are the steps that we have so far. Right now, today, I will finish the patient data and get this. Give the data to Liam to get the DCOM file.
I think it's just first exposure to immunotherapy, but not necessarily first line immunotherapy, just to clarify.
So definitely, it's important to write the regimen, whether it's monotherapy, combo, first line, second line, third line, and what they have received in the second, if it's third line, you know. But I guess when you actually do the analysis, you can do all lines or just confined to first line. I mean, you can do it all different ways, but I think at this time, it's okay to combine it.
So for now, it's okay just taking the first line, right? Just information of the immunotherapy that they take in the first line.
So, Haesung, what have you guys been collecting so far? So line of therapy wise, what were you guys
So I'm not in this current project, but previously we collected across all lines of therapy, and it was just a matter of like whether it was a first exposure to immunotherapy.
Yeah.
So it could be first line, second line, as long as it's a first exposure.
Yeah, last time it was like that.
Oh,
Okay.
I see.
Pretty sure this time too, because there's such a small, it's such a small sample size.
Okay. So it's important to know, make the distinction combo with chemo or mono immuno, all that, yeah.
Okay. We're going to make sure to clarify that. What we took was the immunotherapy, and if the immunotherapy was included with chemotherapy, we will include the whole regimen.
Yeah,
The-
it's Durva, and Durva is approved as adjuvant therapy. So it might be different because we want stage 4 or unresectable stage 3.
Okay.
Not as, so neoadjuvant, adjuvant. Well, I guess neoadjuvant, it's tricky. It is tricky. So neoadjuvant has always better response. It has to do with something from our immune system, that our immune system is highly affected by a lot of metastatic burden. Then our overall response rate to immunotherapy is not as good as the immunotherapy response to neoadjuvant immunotherapy. Okay, this is a very new concept that is changing the whole field. So what I can see happening is more and more of us are using neoadjuvant immunotherapy. And I know we have, is that a separate project with Maddie? Is that, Liam, is that Maddie's project, or whose project is this?
This is
Neoadjuvant.
Oh, I don't know.
Neoadjuvant.
Just the new adjuvant one?
Yeah.
Yes, that is the project we spoke with Maddie with.
And what about Samantha? Wasn't that something we spoke?
Yeah, it was Samantha, and then we were talking about having Maddie help.
Right. I wonder where that is. Maybe Liam, follow up with her. Where Samantha is. I know she'll be starting her residency very soon, and she's still with us. But anyway, what I'm saying is we can do the same radiomics research with neoadjuvant data. But my point is they have to be treated separately. Okay. And Maria, make sure Dr. Chian watches this video. Okay, so to understand the whole paradigm. If you put Durva in there, it's not the same indication. So no. If you put neoadjuvant regimen here, it's a different, they're all gonna get surgery. Okay, and they're gonna be cured. So the overall survival and all these PFS is meaningless when you compare that to stage 4 patients. Okay.
I see.
So of course you'll see a lot of patients getting neoadjuvant, and they may be just by way of searching those patients on immunotherapy could be included as a part of this database, but you have to make every effort to make sure you know whether they're treated for stage 4 versus neoadjuvant where you're still aiming for cure. And Maddie and Samantha are still working on it, on collecting that patient database. So, and really answer the same thing, like, what are we seeing? And they, for them, we were trying to look at the TIL by the Lunit scope. But at the same time, we can do the exact same thing you guys are doing here with radiomics for that neoadjuvant group. What I would propose is that the two groups work together, because I know that some of these patients may be neoadjuvant by mistake. So you have to sort that out. make sure there's no neoadjuvant. They have to belong to a separate patient list. Okay. So how do you know they're neoadjuvant? You know that if
Mhm.
you just get 3 or 4 cycles and they go directly to surgery. So you have to know their patient history, okay? Their staging. But anyway, create separate list. Once you're done with stage 4 project, you guys can move forward with the neoadjuvant project. In neoadjuvant, the outcomes are definitely first response, objective response, but you have pathologic response.
Mm.
Okay. And then you have recurrence-free survival as an outcome. Of course, overall survival, but it's going to take a while. So different endpoints here compared to stage 4 patients. So I want to emphasize that.
Just to make sure that I understand well, for the radio mix, it's better to not take, I mean, to take the regimen that is neoadjuvant or not yet, no adjuvant. Neoadjuvant.
So what I said is, do not add neoadjuvant patient in this list. Make
Okay,
a separate list. Make a separate list.
I see. Separate list, okay.
Dr. Do you mind clarifying what you meant by Durva, taking out Durva? Is that also part of the neoadjuvant or no?
So if Durva is used as an adjuvant indication, adjuvant means after curative therapy,
Yeah.
then it does not belong here
Mm.
because they received immunotherapy under different indication.
Mm.
So comparing response or, because there's no response, usually it's given after consolidative radiation.
Yeah.
So you don't know if the effect of radiation or effect of Durva.
Yeah, we could do this with the transcriptomics project right now. I'm still waiting on the data, but we could do this, right? I feel like our patient pool is coming stuff at this point.
So what I'm saying is you don't have to throw out that they just, if it's an adjuvant therapy, put them in the adjuvant patient list.
Mm.
It's a neoadjuvant therapy, put them in the neoadjuvant therapy list.
Mhm.
When you do the analysis, you can't lump them all and, look at OS, PFS together.
Yeah.
But for purity or homogeneity of the data, for this table, only use stage 3, unresectable, or stage 4, that are treated for metastatic regimen.
That is for radio mix.
Well, for this table radiomics, but
Mhm.
we plan to do radiomics for neoadjuvant for everything else, but that's after you finish this one.
Okay,
Okay, anything else?
no, that will be all for me.
Okay, let's move on to Haesung.
My main project these past 2 weeks was the graft failure versus PTM, post-transplant malignancy and CB association. In the double lung transplant, we saw an inverse relationship. So this time we're doing across all types of transplant, or like it specifically kidney, liver, heart, lung, and pancreas. I dug out like the UNOS database, and these are the clinical variables. I presented the graft rejection part in 2 ways. Do you have like a preference between the two?
So graft failure, yes, no, and then you have graft rejection. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, I like the first one.
Okay. And then this is just a comparison of characteristics between patients with graft failure or not, or PTN or not.
Oh, wait, let's go back up. I wanna make sure we. So. Can you explain the whole group, what the hypothesis of your project is?
My understanding is that, so from the limited data set of analyzing the double lung transplant, we found an inverse relationship between graft failure and post-transplant malignancy. So meaning that people, patients, like transplant recipients who develop post-transplant malignancy tend to have fewer incidents of graft failure, whereas patients who develop graft failure have lower incidence of post-transplant malignancy. And so we're trying to figure out like the immunological sort of basis for that and the prevalence of each or incidence of each, how it relates to it, and how that affects the overall survival.
Yeah, so what's alarming is out of the total recipients is what? Is that 0.4 million?
Yeah, it was massive.
Like almost like 500,000 people data. It's a big data, 500,000 people.
Yeah.
And among them, graft rejection only happens in 3.3%. That's pretty strong, right?
Mhm.
And among them, cancer occurs in 12.4 of patients. So what's less graft rejection and what's common cancer? Interesting. So I just find that interesting. And graft and then among graft failures, rejection is not the main cause. It's probably a mechanical failure, infection, something else.
If you look at the heart transplant, though, heart and lung transplant, graft rejection is the major cause of failure.
Heart
It's
and
different
lung,
for heart and lung. Yeah.
51, 61. While liver, what's the main cause of liver kidney?
For liver, it was like the hepatobiliary, like thrombosis or like those kind of stuff, or like perforation leading to sepsis. Kidney was like CKD related things and infection. Yeah.
Okay.
Would you be interested in seeing the causes of graft failure or like the other causes or like cause of death? I wasn't sure. We do have the data for causes, just not sure what to do with it because it does vary with each organ. Like for liver, it's like, hepatobiliary system and then, it's very different.
Right. Not at this time, but we can revisit that topic later. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we have plenty of tables and graphs. Not too sure what to do with it. Yeah, so that's that. And then this is the univariate and multivariate analysis of graft failure, post-transplant malignancies, and then overall graft survival.
So tell me what are the key findings here?
Let's see.
Everything is like
That
significant p-value.
except for a few, but yeah, basically. The blood group, not so much.
So you have time to graft failure, you have time to post-transplant malignancy, and then you have overall graft survival. And this is okay.
So this data also includes patients who like immediately developed graft failure. Like there were some patients with this exact same date for date of transplantation and date of graft failure. And so in some papers, they took out those patients. They would take out patients who died within 6 months of transplantation or developed graft failure.
Uh-huh.
Or no, it was only for death actually. But yeah, they had this time frame, and they would take out anyone who developed like early death. But what would you say for those patients? Do you think we should take them out or keep them?
What is your question again?
So for patients who have the same, who develop graft failure or PTM on the date of transplantation, like apparently the time to graft failure / PTM / death is 0 for many patients.
Yeah. I think a lot of them could be, I don't know, mechanical failure, or I don't think you'll have that immediate, I don't know. It depends. So I guess the hypothesis is immunology based, that cancer and graft rejection, it has inverse relationship.
Yeah.
But graft failure adds so much noise here, right? Because of infection and mechanical failures. So I
Yeah.
think it's good to see the trend, but the age, not so much, sex, not so much, race, BMI, and not really impressive hazard ratio here, right?
Mhm.
Time to cancer, looks like women get much less cancer, right? And then here you see that compared to white, minorities get less cancer.
Mm.
And I
Mhm.
think this is because a lot of cancers are skin cancer, and it happens more in white population. And I think that's why minority looks more protective here. And BMI, here it looks like obesity is protective. Not sure why. Usually obesity is more cancer. But greater than 25, less than 30 doesn't, the hazard ratio is not impressive. So probably doesn't mean much. This just shows good nutrition level, maybe, I don't know. The blood group does not add much. The hazard ratio is not impressive. So maybe so I think the second column is fine to leave, and maybe time to graft rejection. Maybe see if that adds any value here.
Okay. What if it doesn't?
Oh, it's exploratory, it's fine. If it doesn't, it's fine.
Oh, I'll just leave it instead of graft failure. Just put graft rejection.
I think, yeah, graft rejection
Okay.
better.
Okay. Yeah. And then this is, so I did the time dependent Cox regression for the first time. I hope I got this right. But they all show significant results. To be honest, I'm not sure how to exactly interpret this.
So the hazard ratio is the last right side column.
Yeah.
So time to graft failure. And you put graft failure. So what is the outcome?
Outcome is graft failure, whether it like with or without graft.
So, so what is independent variable? What is outcome here? I don't know how you.
For the first one, the outcome was graft failure.
Then
And
what
then
is the
time-
independent variable? So remember, any Cox regression, you have you have independent variable and dependent variable. Dependent variable is
Oh,
outcome.
maybe it was that. I think it was. Sorry, independent is graph failure, dependent is death. And then only the time variable is different for these three.
So overall survival is your endpoint and
Yeah.
outcome.
Yeah. Sorry, I got confused.
Oh, that's okay. Time to graft failure. So this still says if you have graft failure, they live longer.
Mm.
It just says if you die of other graft, other causes other than graft failure, then you die sooner.
Mm.
That's what this analysis says.
Mm.
And the second one is same thing. Overall survival is the outcome.
Yeah, and the independent is PTM.
So if you develop cancer after transplant,
Mhm.
you live longer, is what this graph is saying.
You know what? I'll run this again because I think this graft failure one is really weird. Because if you look at the other graph, patients with graft failure tend to die earlier.
Okay,
And in that case, it would be greater than 1, you mean, right? For hazard ratio?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'll check. I think this is a bit weird.
And what's the third?
Okay, yeah. I think I gotta redo this. It was my first time. So I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos and tried stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll I'll do this again. And then this last table is
Jian did it, and did Jian show you what she did? No.
no, because she's on a vacation, so I just kind of watched it too.
So same thing here.
But I'll look at their manuscripts.
Same thing here. So my proposal is use independent variable as time to graft rejection and have outcome
Mhm.
as either time to death or time to PTM, post-transplant malignancy.
I see.
Okay. Now do exactly vice versa. Put
Mm.
independent variable as time to PTM
Mhm.
and put outcome as time to graft rejection or time to death. You
Okay.
get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So should our the rest of I'll just show you
No,
the
I
rest and then talk about it.
do the graft failure too, but I want to add graft rejection.
Oh. Okay. Let's see.
So
And then yeah.
next table.
Yeah, it's just a small table that shows patients who have both graft failure and PTM versus people patients who have only one either of them, and then people who have none.
Okay. This is a snapshot, right? Or this
Yeah.
is like all together, but
Mhm.
still you can get odds ratio from something like this 2x2 table.
Oh.
You can get odds ratio. Okay.
And then this is the median overall survival of recipients with graft failure and or post-transplant malignancy. I did show this in a graph form, but if you kind of take a look at it, patients with graft failure tend to live shorter, and then rejection much shorter. These are all significant. PTM, kind of, I mean, there is a difference, but a bit longer if you have malignancy. And then patients who only have graft failure tend to have the worst survival. Patients with only PTM have the best. Oh wait, people with neither have the best survival,
Uh-huh.
but only PTM also tends to have a good survival too. And you can see this trend in other types of transplant as well. Again, this includes death within 6 months of transplant, but I guess we're okay with the noise.
Yes. Yeah, I think this is good to have table. Also, not sure if this is supplemental or main, but depends on, you know, what other graphs we have.
This is, sorry for the format, I'm gonna fix it, but this is the overall survival rate of the top 5 PTM. Oh, that's, sorry, I'm being redundant here. The top 5 PTM with the best prognosis and the worst prognosis. So if you look at across all transplants, those with testicular cancer tend to have the best prognosis. Patients with liver mets have the worst prognosis. And then it differs for like liver, like kidney and is pretty similar. It follows the trend, but then liver, heart, lung, not so much. Pancreas, we didn't have enough patients, so I couldn't get any of their data.
Okay.
And then only these have significant p-value. And then liver transplants. Only the worst prognosis ones.
Best prognosis, worst prognosis.
I also showed this in the graph.
So let's put worst up, you know, first and then best later.
Okay.
I think testicular gets too much attention. It's going,
Okay. Yeah.
but you see liver's the worst. What? Wait. I mean, liver mets is not the primary cancer.
Yeah, I know. It was just in the database. I also wasn't sure what to do with it, but I think this includes like, you know, any primary. It was, to be honest, it was very tricky. So this is only reflective of the first PTM. Some patients have multiple PTMs. Some patients develop several PTMs on the same day. Like they were dying, like the patients would be like diagnosed with like 7 different cancers on the same day, something like that. It was like the database is kind of strange. So I asked Dr. Jian what to do, and she said just pick out the one with the worst prognosis because we're interested in the survival outcome. And so I just went through the SEER database and just kind of tried to pick out the one with the worst. And so, I mean, metastasis obviously means stage 4, so I put that as, you know, one of the worst ones, like liver mets, pancreas, carcinoma of unknown primary. Yeah, it was kind of tricky to make the decision of like which one is the worst, like what, like one could be the primary tumor.
So
yeah.
I'll say it's not fair comparison because you can have pancreatic with liver mets, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know then if it's a double count. You know it's that's a pancreatic cancer, but it has liver mets. So where does it go to?
Yeah, there's no way of telling. From the database, like you can't tell. Yeah, there's no data about the stages.
There's no stage data. Okay. And there's no way of knowing whether that's overcounted or not, like double counted.
I don't want to. I didn't want to assume that. Like you, yeah. And sometimes like the mets would come first before other tumors. sometimes vice versa, but. And some patients would have both colorectal and pancreatic cancer and liver mets. So it's hard to tell which one's primary or both.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a crazy data set.
So let's say if the first tumor is both pancreatic and colorectal,
Mhm.
are they double counted in this analysis?
No, I chose one with like basically the worst cancer. So I chose, in that case, I would choose pancreas.
I see. Okay. So make sure you describe what you exactly did as you described to me in your method section. But I would take out liver mets because again,
Oh.
not being fair to other tumor types. And it's unknown primary here.
Mm.
And we're try to compare the primary tumors here. So yeah, let's take that out. Same with any other mets. Unknown primary is fine.
Eh,
UP is
Oh, okay. Another thing, maybe minor, the brain tumor includes benign meningioma. Did I take that out? I think so, right?
benign meningioma.
Yeah, it includes it. Sometimes they subgroup it, sometimes they don't. But
I
the
think
ones that
that's too granular. It's okay to leave it. Yeah.
right. And then Dr. Chisang, I think, just put vulvar peritoneal penile scrotal cancer into one type of cancer.
Where?
Like here, if you look at it, he just clumped them all together into a single cancer.
Uh-huh.
What do you think about that? I think it's because
That's
there's
okay.
so
That's
few.
okay. I think you could put genital area
Genital.
cancer.
Okay,
And then in the footnote, kind of list what they are.
okay,
Yeah, it's okay.
okay.
I don't know. I just made that word up, but if there's anything they use in the literature, genital, what's
Yeah,
that area cancer?
okay. If you look at it here too, I mean, I noticed some weird things. Like endometrial cancer would be the best prognosis for lung transplant. Worst would be Kaposi. And then there's also cutaneous. I tend to think that cutaneous isn't too bad. And then there's also testicular cancer here. I just thought it
that
was
is
very
worse.
odd. Yeah.
Wow. Testicular worse.
But it is only 3 patients, so maybe that also
Oh yeah, that could be.
weird.
Oh, very small number. Okay.
I'm sorry about the format. This isn't. It just got weird. All that
What is that? 793, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Visceral cutaneous. Yeah, I think it's okay to leave it as is. Just want to be consistent. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now these are the graphs. OS for just all the patients with or without graft failure, and these are all significant. I did a landmark analysis for at like 3, 5, 10. Oh wait, 3, 5, 7, 10, 15, 20 year time points, just like the incidence paper. These are all significant. 5 year is also significant across all transplants. 7 year is also significant. 10 as well. 15 as well. 20 as well. And graft rejection is also very significant. PTN, liver is not significant. It kind of crosses over.
But what's significant? Heart, lung?
Everything else, like these are very strong. Like 0.00 per kidney.
So overall is not significant.
No, overall is,
But
but it kind of crosses over. That's true.
the graph doesn't seem like how come.
That's true. I mean, uh,
Oh, what would you leave hazard ratio blank?
oh no, I'm gonna fill it in. I'm sorry. I just didn't have the time. It's too much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'll show it to you again next time after I fill everything out. And I'll confirm this too.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this is. Oh, and then oh yeah, so yeah. Do you want me to put hazard ratio for every single graph? So I did for the landmarks, but the rest as well. Would you like to see the hazard ratio?
Yeah, I think it's helpful. You can put that above p-value.
I'll put them like this or no?
Oh yeah, that's fine too. That's fine.
Okay, yeah. And then these are the PTM types. This slide is showing the best prognosis cancers. And then for pancreas, I just left it kind of blank. If you look at heart and lung, it's not significant, you know.
So this is best ones.
Yeah, best prognosis, and then this is the worst prognosis. The p-values aren't great for heart and lung as well. Yeah, so for both graphs, heart and lung, not so much.
Okay.
But I'll take out the liver mets and show it to you again. Oh, and then if you have any comments about the colors, let me know.
I don't like yellow because it's hard to see
Oh, what would you prefer?
anything
I was
else.
debating. Is pink too much?
You could do purple.
Purple, I personally couldn't see much difference, but okay, I'll try it again.
Anything darker.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
brown, you know, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Oh, and these are also again the landmark analysis, 3 years. Yeah, they're all kidney is not significant. Oh, and then I think this is
Landmark, heart and lung. The benefit is much less. Yeah.
and this one is 0.6 for pink.
Yeah, so what does that mean? For pancreas, if you get cancer, even after 3 years, you live longer. So landmark analysis. So this is my question. 3 years. If you develop cancer within the first 3 years, do these patients live longer? Or did you still count, let's say some people develop cancer year number 4. Where would that patient go to in this graph?
You know what? I actually just realized, I think I did this wrong. So time to PTM, yeah, it's a time to PTM, right? The 3, 5, 7, 10, the time points, right? It's from transplant to diagnosis. So developing PTM within 3 years, right? For these
Yeah.
graphs? Okay, I did it wrong.
Yeah, so the reason why we're doing time-dependent Cox regression is
Mhm.
our independent variable moves with time. Usually independent variable is cross-sectional. It's
Mhm.
determined at the start of the study, baseline.
Yeah.
Okay? Or you don't change sex, age, you don't change those. Age at the time of the enrollment to the study. These are fixed.
Mhm.
But our independent variables change with time. You can have year 1 cancer, year 5 cancer,
Yeah.
right? So if you have year 5 cancer, you have to live long enough to develop cancer at year 5.
Yeah.
It's called survivor's bias. In order to get rid of it, we do landmark analysis. So if you develop cancer within 3 years, within 5
Mhm.
years, 10 years, doesn't matter what the cutoff is, that landmark acts as a baseline.
Mhm.
And I want to compare to people who at least made to the 3rd year. Some people might die of graft failure at year 2. Now, we don't
Mhm.
want them. We want everyone who made it to year 3 and have history of first 3 year having cancer there, post-transplant. Okay, so post-transplant, first 3 year cancer history, yes, no. And then we're gonna follow that.
Wait, I think I did it right then. So they have to live at least 3 years, right?
Yeah,
And so I did a cutoff for the survival month or survival years, and then I took out all the patients who died before 3 years. Okay, I think I did it right.
but
Yeah.
your PTM positive means having cancer in
patients-
that just 3 years. You cannot be having cancer year 4 or 5.
Oh, okay. Oh, let's wait. Sorry.
So it's not just any history of cancer. It's having a history of cancer within the first 3 years.
Within 3. Okay. Yeah. I should redo this.
So work with Xian. She understands this
Yeah.
concept.
Okay. Yeah. And then this is the final graph that shows people with both or either or neither. And so patients who only have graft failure tend to have the worst prognosis, whereas patients with neither have the best. Or for some transplants, people with only PTM have the good prognosis. And these are also significant.
Okay, but this one's yeah, I think it's okay to show it, but it's still introducing that survivor's bias.
Mm.
But it's fine.
For,
I think you can use it as a supplemental figure.
for the landmark analysis, just do the graft failure and PTM and not the rejection specifically.
For landmark, you looked at survival, right?
Yeah, overall survival.
So just like I told you what to do with the time-dependent Cox,
Yeah.
do the same thing, which means your independent variable right here is PTM positive, negative.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's before, that means it's before the landmark time.
Mhm.
Exposure happened to happen before.
Yeah.
That's the key. So independent variable is PTM here in landmark analysis.
Yeah.
Before that landmark time,
Mhm.
and your outcome here is time to death.
Yeah.
And your outcome can also be time to rejection.
So that's the thing, I just thought of it. We don't have the date for graft rejection. We only have
Oh,
the date
really?
for failure. Yeah.
Oh, but don't you have the time to graft failure?
I do.
Then you
Because, okay, so just assume that that's the date. Okay.
assume that's the date for rejection, because you know among who are rejection.
Yeah. Okay.
So your outcome in landmark analysis can be time to rejection,
Mhm.
time to graft failure, time to death. You have 3 different outcomes. So you have 3 different graphs.
Yeah.
According to the PTM positive negative. Now you
And for
can
the,
do
yeah.
vice versa with graft rejection. First 3 years having graft rejection or not,
Mhm.
you can have time to death, time to PTM.
Yeah.
As your outcome.
For the graft rejection group analysis, is this within the graft failure group? Right? The N is much smaller, right? So it's patients who develop graft failure, but those that are rejection related and those that are not rejection related.
It doesn't have to be within. It can be
Okay.
graft rejection versus everybody else.
Okay. That clarifies many things. Okay.
I know it's confusing, but
Yeah, I just assumed many things and yeah, I didn't want to bother Dr. Chen too much. So,
this is how you learn.
yeah. So that's all for now.
Okay, good. Okay. I know Ines here, but I know she wants to work with us. So if you need any help from her, I don't know if she has bandwidth to do any independent project, but I think she should start first. If she wants to help out with making graphs, making tables, doing the reference, or writing the methods, discussion, anything together, you know, you are welcome to work with her in any way possible, but definitely she has to make a meaningful contribution to the project. And once she shows that she's able to work remotely with us, then she can work on as a major leader in some of the projects. But I think she could work in that capacity at this point. Anything you want to add, Ine? We cannot hear you. I think there's no microphone. Okay. Yeah, you're muted. I don't know how to unmute you. Yeah, I
I
don't
think it
know.
might be like a Bluetooth connection issue with the mic.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, so yeah, and in that same way, if you heard many different interesting project, if there's particular project you really want to work together, you can reach out to any of us, and we can assign you some of the works that you're interested in. So we're happy to work with you. Okay, good. Liam, let's go over the projects.
Yeah, so the main updates I wanted to go over today are the AACR posters.
Yeah.
So I have 3 SWOG posters for AACR, the ovarian cancer cohorts.
Yeah.
And then I have the Dream Trials in Progress poster. So I'm just going to share my screen. So if you can have a look at them, and if you have any feedback or comments, that would be appreciated. And then I'll go ahead, if you think they're good to go, I can go ahead and send these over to the printer so we can get them in time for the actual conference. So this is cohort number 13, the non-epithelial ovarian tumor cohort. So the thing, so with these DART trial abstracts, like we have so much content in them, it like I had to cut out some of the details so I can fit everything into
Yeah.
the poster. So this is the layout I have. Before I made this, I thought it would be nice to include some charts and graphs, but I don't think there's going to be space.
I think the poster is big enough. I think if you make this conclusion, this is going to be too much. So I think we have examples of DART trials in the poster, I think.
I couldn't find them on the SWOG website.
Maybe after this meeting, come to me and let's find the poster for, because I know, well, some of them were at Whirl. But anyway, you need waterfall.
Uh-huh.
You need PFS and OS. Those two are almost must. And remember, this is poster, so even the regular the font is really big. Yeah. And also you need maybe put, because this is a SWOG trial, put acknowledgement. We acknowledge NCI, PMS, well, you know, whoever we did in my prior acknowledgements, and I don't think you need reference, but you can put yeah, maybe put my email as contact information. And maybe put, you know, there's a DART trial. The DART, we have the figure that's, you know, DART trial figure, symbol or whatever. Use that. And the SWOG NCI, this is too big. I think you have to make it much smaller. Yeah, so let's just follow the protocol. Yeah, I think you can, yeah. The conclusion is too big. There's still typos and yeah, let's work on that together.
Okay, so okay, for the SWOG, I can come talk to you afterwards. Same thing. So this is the clear cell cohorts, so ovarian, endometrial, cervical, and then this one's the small cell ovarian. Okay, so I guess oh, I don't know why this is doing this. So this is the DREAM clinical trials in progress one. I think the overlap here happens. So I uploaded this, I uploaded a PPT file on Google. I think that's what messed up with the formatting. just for now, I'm just gonna pull this down. Does this one look okay, or would you like to add or change anything?
So we enrolled 2 patients so far.
So far we have 3.
So I think you can say we've enrolled 3 patients so far or something. And then the first 2 patients are out by, disease-free survival by,
We're
Oh.
not allowed to include any results.
oh, we're not?
Yeah.
What about enrollment?
Enrollment, I think we can.
Yeah, then say we enrolled 3 patients so far. Interesting that they're not allowing us to do that. And then I know it's a trial in progress category,
Mm.
but some people are awfully sensitive to the word trial, as you know.
Mhm.
So how about study in progress, just for the title, study?
Okay, yeah, I mean, I don't mind changing it. But the category itself is trial in progress.
Right, doesn't matter
Okay.
for the poster. So the first graph doesn't really carry any meaning, it's just the lung.
Yeah.
So what's more informative is maybe add a representative figure of lipidic lung CT scan or something like that,
Mm. Okay.
and call it like a representative eligible lung candidate with bilateral lung confined tumor, and could something, yeah. And in the methods, how Dr. Bharat's been talking about non-sequential using ECMO bypass and minimize tumor spilling, all that. I think I want that to be described in detail in methods. Because he's been talking about that even in press conferences. So you can kind of, if it's not in a written form, whatever that is, and that surgical technique that makes it unique
Mhm.
needs to be here. And then definitely you'll run it by with Dr. Bharat and Ray Tomic, so then he can revise it, but at least start something. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think in the contact, you can add Dr. Bharat in the contact as well.
Sure. Okay, I'll make those edits and then send them out to Dr. Broad and Dr. Tomic.
Okay.
Then that's it for me today. So with the students, so the students started their semester last week, so they'll start to come in this week.
Okay.
I can give you updates on their status in person later as well. But so Eileen and Grace are going to be around. Maddie will be around.
So
Eileen's the
yeah,
only one.
Maddie can also come into my clinic as other students do.
Yeah, so I've told her about it, and she's going to come in starting this Thursday.
And is she first year or second year?
The first year.
First year.
Mhm.
First year, it will be tough to do new patient note, right? I think
Yeah, no.
first year, you don't have that clinical base, so yeah. For new patient, it will still be MDs, but yeah, they can shadow with me.
Sure.
Okay.
And then
And Maddie can still be involved in pacemaker. So let's figure out who to interview. We have some candidates still. We still have to redo Sarah Benton is here. We can do Pedro. Pedro is a good candidate. Pedro. So yeah, at least one interview per month. Let's keep that tradition for students. And I know you guys did our Laura and Pat. Let's get it uploaded. Let's get it ready.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I know we have Iser Kim. Is a definitely a good candidate for pacemaker interview. We have two other Korean doctors. It has not, uploaded yet. So keep working on that. Oh, you know what? William would be a really good candidate. William, urology resident. Yeah, he could be a really good candidate. Very passionate. So let's do that, and make sure they take a good photo to be used for the Instagram and the quotes. Let's make that yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And yeah, definitely work on the pacemaker manuscript.
Mhm.
I know there were more urgent things, but if you need help from other people, you can get some help. Definitely. It's not a deep science. It's about writing it up. Okay. And we can talk about the company things later, but
Yeah.
anything else? Housekeeping?
That's about it. Just one more thing about the Joseph Butzo concert. So the next meeting with the students are going to have to be today at 1 p.m. But you have a meeting with the LG like MS like biochem.
Yeah. So just do it without me. Fine. Okay.
May
What
I
do
ask
we
you a
have
quick question?
Oh, sorry. What do we have? 3 o'clock today?
I think it's Peter's testimony.
Is it today?
Yes.
Okay, today. Okay, 3 Peter's testimony. And tomorrow 3 is what?
Book club.
Book club. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
May I ask you?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, for liver mets, some patients have only liver mets like reported on their database. So in that case, do I put carcinoma of unknown primary? Or should I just take it out?
Just take it out because we don't know if it's unknown. If we don't know if it has different primary. That's not reported.
Take them out. Okay.
Yeah, I know, but it's just to be fair to the other primaries.
Okay, but if that patient has 2 or 3 more cancers, then just take out the liver mets and then consider the other ones and choose the one with the worst prognosis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will do. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Any questions from anyone else? Any question, take you? I know you've been observing, but yeah, any questions or any comments?
Oh yeah, actually it was a very good time being updated about current research projects. And will there be any of these projects can I take part in when I go to the Northwestern Hospital?
So when are you joining?
From upcoming June.
June. Okay, June. Okay. I think this is time for you to read first. So read,
Okay.
maybe talk to Liam what would be a nice, background articles to read first. Learn about, cancer immunotherapy, targeted therapy. Yeah, I think you need time to immerse yourself and read the papers that have come out from our lab.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's so, yeah, I think that's better. And just, if there's something that you don't understand, keep reading the background. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I will. Thank you.
Okay. Haesung, there's been some journal clubs that you haven't done. Do you have time to show them?
Oh gosh.
Or do you need time to refresh yourself?
I have like many, but
I know,
it's
that's
piling
why.
up, and it's been a while, to be honest. So I was not prepared. Could this be
I
next time?
know, but we were always running
Sorry,
so
it's a bit
time.
overwhelming with like 500,000 data sets. So yeah, I was struggling a lot, but maybe next time, yeah.
Okay, be prepared next time because I don't want anything you look into be wasted. So
Okay.
yeah, and I know I asked Jian to look into the negative effect of PARP inhibitors.
Mhm.
Maybe talk to Jian about it too. That's a really important topic. People who got PARP inhibitor died sooner.
Oh.
And I wonder why that is. Okay, that it's in the field of ovarian cancer. So I think we need to study more about that. And another nice project that I think any one of you who are interested can embark on is ChatGPT-4. So, we talked about, how do we use algorithm to say a mutation is functional or not? And previously, was it, what was that? The company, AI company who did AlphaGo.
Oh.
AlphaGo. What's that company? What is that company?
All under Google.
DeepMind technology?
DeepMind is Google.
Yeah, an acquired subsidiary of Google.
Okay. Microsoft, Google, Apple. What are the other big computer companies? Dell and
Facebook, Meta.
Meta. What else?
So I think they say like Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Apple are kind of the big four players.
Yeah. Anyway, MD Anderson has a huge project with this AI company. They failed miserably. The company name doesn't come up to me. Anyone? I know maybe in Korea, Hachon Medical School is using AI for clinical algorithm. Did you hear about that? What's that company? Watson. Did you hear about Watson?
This was like a couple years ago.
Yeah. IBM. Oh, I was thinking about IBM. So IBM is a big AI company, but it was a total failure. AI Watson. And you know, they were doing a lot of projects. But IBM sold Watson to a different company, that part of the business. Anyway, so ChatGPT, I've been asking GPT chat a lot of questions. Let's say if you have atypical EGFR mutation, what are your best treatment options? And we're asking all the BRAF mutations, and all their answers were wrong. It is not what I would have used in my clinic. Okay, so there's definitely, obviously we don't expect doctors to, be relying on that, but still asking therapy treatment, because that's what patients want to know. Am I on the right therapy? Now, they don't even know what EGFR mutation is, what atypical mutation is. So like the targeted therapy questions or the immunotherapy questions, I have EGFR mutation, like what are my treatment options? And it will still say immunotherapy. But it's no. You should not give immunotherapy to patients with EGFR mutation, okay? So ChatGPT doesn't know. It can, So I feel like people are writing books and writing literature based on ChatGPT. So we've written papers based on the existing algorithms to find genetic variants to be functional or not. So in the same way, with a unified or systematic therapy selection questions, we can kind of verify whether ChatGPT's performance is we can either say dangerous, suboptimal, or on par with expert opinion. You know what I mean? That itself could be a really nice AI paper. ChatGPT is great. I'm so amazed at what it can do. But at the same time, it's in healthcare field, in terms of recommending therapies, I see danger. But people have to have evidence, like a paper published with a scientific mindset. So I think it will be a nice project to do. And then these journals like the NEJM AI, the people are making AI journals. So in medicine, so it will be a great topic. So we have NCCN guidelines, which we know it's the science, but not sure if ChatGPT is aware of NCCN guidelines. So oncology therapy selection and performance of ChatGPT can be the project, and we can brainstorm. If you think about a better way to analyze, let me know, but this is the food for thought. Okay, I will end here. I will see you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.